now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening all and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Shashina Rolla. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, Operation Black Swan wrapped up a two-day safety evaluation on Grand Bahama yesterday. The United States Coast Guard coordinated the joint offshore emergency exercise with the Bahamian government, the cruise line industry, and emergency response teams to test and evaluate safety procedures at sea. Today, parties involved were able to assess the exercise. Shakara Trott reports.
Officials of NEMA are convinced that the Bahamas is now better equipped to handle a real-life crisis in Bahamian waters. According to Captain Stephen Russell, persons are concerned about mishaps involving the cruise ship industry over the past few months, and the Bahamas is taking a proactive approach.
And I'm pleased to say I think all who were part of our local operations, they can say that we have been much improved as a result of the exercise. Knowledge exchange, capacity building, those are some of my my marching orders for the disaster management committees ashore the islands. So I'm pleased with the process all along. We are local forces, the police force, the defense force, Barja, and the U.S. Coast Guard who were at sea from the onset. And once persons came to the respect or the landing site, you had the ground support, Salvation Army, the Red Cross, those who were at the reception center to receive persons and to care for them. Immigrations, customs were all in place to support the exercise. It was a fantastic effort on all their behalf. I think people boast of the security of the police. I think the areas were security tight all around, particularly at the landing site. And the escorts of personnel from various venues, I think they were quite pleased with what they saw from the overall local effort here in Grand Bahama.
Russell says NEMA is moving to address a number of concerns coming out of the Black Swan operation.
How do we provide an initial response? Where are our assets around the Bahamas that we can provide an initial response until other assistance can come? So that's something we're grappling with. We're trying to, as we move around the islands, find out where our assets are that can provide a response.
The NEMA director adds that there is also a need to identify basic resources to respond to a disaster.
And it's my desire wherever a cruise ship berths or anchors anywhere in the Bahamas, or if a cruise ship or any other major vessel is passing through the Bahamas, we have a mechanism in an adjacent island that can rapidly respond to such an event, God forbid something does occur. But I want to know that we have the basic resources in place and persons can respond as necessary. So that's what we hope to draw from this exercise and produce a template that goes into every district where a cruise ship goes into.
Persons from some 84 countries observed the exercise and were pleased with the outcome. Todd Lutez is dubbing the event a smashing success despite a few challenges.
We don't come into these exercising looking for perfection. We come in here to truly exercise the processes, and we did that, and we could not have done it without your help. I hesitate to call it a host relationship because it's more of a partnership, and we've enjoyed that partnership for many, many years. Just as an example, just last night the Rescue Coordination Center in Miami, Florida received a 406 megahertz emergency position radio indicating beacon alert. We immediately launched our aircraft to come search for it. It was some 17 miles off the west end off West End here, and our aircraft got on scene, located the distressed person right away. We had already called RBPF to go out and effect the rescue. You guys were there immediately, and you saved 2 lives. Thank you very much.
Shakara Trott, ZNS Network News.
In other news, 4 illegal immigrants believed to be from Bangladesh were arrested in the Western District on Grand Bahama early Wednesday. The men were traveling in a green Dodge Caravan when they were stopped in the area of Bahama Beach by officers of the West End Police Station. Police say the immigrants all appeared to be in good health and were handed over to Bahamas immigration authorities for processing. The driver of that vehicle, a 30-year-old man from Victoria Avenue, New Providence, was arrested and handed over to officers of the Central Detective Unit. Now, police are continuing their investigations into this matter. And switching gears now, a local human rights activist adding his voice to the debate over the current firefighting challenges here on Grand Bahama. The island has been left without a proper fire station, and while the previous administration announced that the site on Settlers Way was selected for the new fire station, to date nothing has been done. A local attorney, Fred Smith, says this issue must be given priority before a major emergency occurs.
After all this time, my community doesn't have a fire station? How disgraceful.
Attorney Fred Smith believes it is an absolute disgrace that the island of Grand Bahama does not have the proper firefighting facilities. Since the hurricanes of 2004 and 2005, the island's fire station was badly damaged, and since that time, there has only been 2 fire trucks at the police canteen.
2 fire trucks for the whole island of Grand Bahama? A community which generates over $150 million a year to the public treasury deserves only 2 fire trucks, and the Zion Baptist Church has to burn down? A community church burns down because we don't have sufficient firefighting capacity in this island.
The brush fire season is from March and can run until August. Grand Bahama has been inundated with brush fires recently. Many residents have expressed utter frustration that there are no fire stations in the eastern or western part of the island. Smith says Grand Bahama deserves better.
And the executives of the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the cabinet ministers of both the PLP and the FNM governments and all the MPs for the FNM and the PLP should be ashamed of themselves. They should not have the audacity to appear in public and show themselves to this community. Are we worthless? People in Grand Bahama and Freeport don't deserve to be treated properly?
He says he shudders to think what would happen in the event of an island-wide emergency.
People should be calling their members of parliament. In fact, we should be demonstrating outside of the Grand Bahama Port Authority building. People should be demonstrating outside of the Prime Minister's office. People should go to every MP's constituency office in Grand Bahama and express outrage.
But the attorney and human rights activist says he wants to make it clear that Grand Bahama's vulnerable situation is not the fault of the firefighters.
Successive governments have promised to build a fire station. These poor firefighters, and I've been down to the old police barracks. I've been out past 8 Mile Rock. I've spoken with these firefighters. These guys perform above and beyond the call of duty. But they can't with the resources they have. We have no fire hydrants anywhere. You can't, the water pressure sometimes isn't sufficient.
He's making this appeal to the powers that be.
I call on my PLP government, since it's the one that happened to win the other day, is my government that represents me now. Used to be my FNM government that represented me, but they're not the government now. But between the 2 of them, I call on them to call on the Port Authority to build a fire station. What is everybody always talking about doing things for? You know, they're always talking about doing things. They never get anything done. The Port Authority charges license fees. It charges service charges. It has all kinds of other income. The government collects stamp duty, corporate taxes, national insurance. Instead of building a lot of low-cost houses right now with your national insurance money and my national insurance money, they should build a fire station.
Well, it is a case of police brutality that unfolded back in the late 1990s, and tonight the victim is still seeking justice. In this report, Sabrina Brown tells us that although he won his case against the police force, the incident left him disabled and he has yet to be compensated.
We don't want the police to think we're against them. We want you to know that we're with you. We want the politicians to know that we're with you. We just need you to be with us in this situation here.
Rashad Joshilo Adderley of the Einity movement says he's speaking out on behalf of a member of the organization who is a victim of police brutality. He says on December 16, 1998, the member went to a local police station to file a complaint and was in turn arrested, beaten by officers, and left paralyzed. The victim took legal action and won the case in 2008 and has since been awaiting the assessment of damages.
A man is awarded victory some 3-4 years now, and still nothing has happened for him. He's still every day wondering what's next. Come to the courthouse, you get turned back around. We're just waiting for him to get awarded, which is just due. You know, like I said, he's already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to go to doctors in the States for evaluation. Right now, his resources are gone.
This concerned citizen says his brother's health continues to deteriorate, and he's now appealing to the powers that be to assist in seeing that justice is done.
And we're crying out now to the members of the public who have great influence to please stand up, because they're not just hurting one person. You know, you're hurting his children, you're hurting his wife, you're hurting his father, you're hurting his mother. It's a domino effect. You know what I mean? You don't want his children to come up and don't have respect for the law, because without the law, there'll be chaos.
Adderley says he believes the long delay is a form of discrimination. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Sabrina. Well, we contacted a court official for comment who confirmed that the assessment hearing is completed and the court is currently in the process of wrapping up a written ruling, which they hope will be completed soon.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Urban Renewal and other partners marshaling forces today to provide some support for a resident who is unable to help himself. For the recipient, improved conditions are now within sight. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
Me hearing them guys or them on defense force, they understand so many away. Just one time I wish I could see.
He may not have physical sight, but when officials of Urban Renewal 2.0 and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force recruits moved in Thursday morning, it was music to the ears of former veteran Bahamian entertainer Frankie Adams. Adams, who lost his sight in 2006, has been struggling and only recently made an appeal for help. Now members of the Urban Renewal team on Grand Bahama, led by Deputy Director Michelle Reckley, along with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, have answered the call. Reckley noted that this combined initiative is in keeping with Urban's mission and mandate.
Urban's overall mission is to bring help and hope, and is to make sure that all citizens in this country can live a better life and in a safe environment. And we are here today to use our hands to do just that, to make sure that he is comfortable. He's blind, but he's not just sitting there. He wants to live a normal life. Today we are so excited to have with us Chief Petty Officer Roll along with his recruits. They are in Grand Bahama and they saw the need to partner with Urban today to bring some relief to this gentleman in this house.
Reckley says the scope of work to be carried out involves other partners like Smith's Construction.
Urban Renewal will be building a pavement in the front of the door so he can come out and sit, and the walkway so he can walk out comfortably, because he's also asthmatic and he has to get to the hospital, he said, sometimes twice a week, and it poses a challenge for him because sometimes he's near to fall because the yard is so bumpy and rocky. So today we are here to sort out the yard and sort out the house for him.
Chief Petty Officer Whitfield Roll says the project epitomizes the Defense Force's motto of service above self. But for Adams, this coming together is no doubt a labor of love.
We want them to see that we're not only all about being on the sea and doing that type of duties. We are here to help the communities, and we want them to get that bit of information in them. So when they would have passed all the training, that we're here to help all Bahamians and whatever, in times of disaster.
Whatever they're doing for me, the Urban Renewal in particular, to please continue doing it, man, because like I said, I listen to radio a lot, and there are a lot of people hurting, man. There are a lot of us. So I thank them and I ask them to continue doing what they're doing, because we need the help.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
The Bahamas Brass Band is known for its soul-stirring music. Each year, the band holds a concert to help raise funds for various groups on the island. This year, members decided to reach out and touch the lives of the children in a special organization. Director of the band, Barry Morris.
Thank you. Good. Appreciate it.
This time, we've selected the Autism Foundation for the serious and really heartfelt work that they do dealing with the autistic children. And autism is something that we're sort of just becoming aware of in the Bahamas, and I think education is important so we can understand what it is we're up against. We opted to help this foundation and to reach out to them in a most personal way by raising some funds and helping them to not just to promote, but to educate our society.
Chairman of REACH, the local autism awareness organization, Valerie Seymour, says the donation will fund the autism awareness campaign. Several seminars are scheduled to be held this month. These events will be open to all parents, teachers, and caregivers of autistic children.
The funds that we get from the public and this organization will go towards the expenses associated with the trainer, the lecturer who comes down to do the seminar, Mr. Michael McGinty. He's a lecturer at Florida Atlantic University and was previously a principal of a special ed school in South Florida. The recent statistics about autism is 1 in 50 are being diagnosed. 2 years ago when we talked about this, it was 1 in 88. We're not sure if it's the occurrence is on the rise or if it's just that more kids are being diagnosed. It's a neurological disorder. It affects the social behavior of the child and the speech of the child. And it is quite prevalent, and we want to equip parents. We want to let them know that we're here to support you, to let you know of the resources that are available on the island and elsewhere to help in assisting you in the development of your child.